This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour,
supported by Albertsons
and brought to you by
Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. It's Miller time. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. Lucchese, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by Omni. Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your hosts, Haley Sutton and Brad Shand.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight on the Cowboys Hour. Thank you very much for those of you who come out to join us at Cane Rosso in the Star District in Frisco. Give yourselves another big round of applause, will you? It's cold outside. Everybody's all bummed out. You know, maybe the midterms didn't go your way. Who knows? I don't know. But we are very happy that the Victory Monday fan club is so adaptable because we now have the look ahead to Victory Monday, so which could very well be next week. Thank you for coming. Thank you wherever you're listening around the Dallas Cowboys radio network and wherever you are streaming on DallasCowboys.com. And so if you are doing that, you will see that Haley and I are delighted to be joined at the table by Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Always fun.
You don't really mean that, though, do you? Always fun.
Always, Brad.
You're just not Cooper. You're just being nice, aren't you? You don't really want to do this.
Anything for you.
Yeah. You know, I do want to start with this because Cooper and I were talking a little bit about this several weeks ago before Dak came back, and your personality, which is somewhat reserved. I'm okay on that ground, am I not?
Yeah, you're dead
okay,
right.
Good. Does not seem to be the quintessential barking out leadership instructions quarterback personality. And I was really appreciative of your willingness to be introspective and your observations about how, as maybe a high school player, I think you told me, if certainly on into Central Michigan, you had to kind of force yourself to be a little more evocative with your personality. Would you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, you grow as a person, and you kind of, find your groove, find yourself, what works. But playing the position, you always taught at a young age, leadership, verbal, blah, 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 right? And then, you get into it, and it's really what you know, how you prepare, and do you perform. And those three things, relate to teammates well. And so you kind of just, over the years, got better at it. It's funny, definitely quiet, shy, all that stuff. But when I'm in the huddle and with those guys on offense, I don't feel reserved or quiet or shy. I think it's just part of the position. Growing up, you learn it. You're in command. They're all looking at you. For whatever reason, I'm comfortable in that spot.
When did you? The one thing that you didn't say in there is the necessity to communicate, and sometimes to just take charge. Sometimes say in essence, you be quiet now. I need to talk now. And maybe sometimes in those words. When did you realize that was part of the job?
Just in college. You're a young freshman coming in, and there's seniors that play a lot of ball, older guys that, been around for a while. And when we walk in the huddle, they all shut up because that's the quarterback, It's kind of just the way football's been forever. So it sets it up for you nicely, and then you just take charge. That's all those guys want to see. So I remember specifically in college, we would do the walkthrough. I was a redshirt, and we'd do the walkthrough with the O-line. The other guys would do the 7-on-7 walkthrough, the older guys. And I go down, and you got Eric Fisher's on that team. I mean, you had some dudes that played a lot of ball. And I'm in there calling the plays, barely know what's going on. And O-line coaches yelling. And you just kind of had to learn to take charge. And if you just command it, they respect it.
We'll talk more about that later. I just think it's fascinating. I think it's a really interesting character study. But we're embarking on the return to Minnesota, your first great triumph. Relive last Halloween for us a little bit, will you?
Yeah, it was obviously an awesome night. went up there, got the win, first start, crazy environment, fun game, came down to the end. So it'll be fun going back for sure. Excited for that, big week for us as a team. And just looking back, I mean, it's funny, I remember almost every play from every snap you ever play in a game, and for whatever reason, a lot of times I just feel like I blacked out. I can't remember. It's like, oh yeah, that happened, that sequence happened. You're just kind of so hyper-focused in the moment. It was my first time out there, kind of like in the NFL, things like that. So I think I was super just not thinking about anything else and couldn't remember some stuff looking back. But it'll be fun to watch the game again and then, kind of get onto them this year and see what they're doing now.
Did whatever your recollection is of what you were experiencing in the moment, emotionally and putting the emotions aside because it was a close game and you had to make plays, do you remember being surprised at how you were feeling about being there in the moment?
I was surprised how fast it went. Like, holy cow, it's the fourth quarter. Like, I was like, this is already over. It's like your one game you get to start, and it's already almost over. I remember that stood out. But other than that, it was just like you're playing ball again. I mean, obviously it's a bigger stage, better players. You're playing against better players. But I always say you're playing with the best players you ever play with in your life. And that was something to kind of, fall back on, ease the nerves, and just go execute and play ball with those guys who make it easy for you.
Knowing that you had that game in your back pocket whenever this year happened and you had to step up for Dak, how much more prepared were you to get that start against Cincinnati?
Yeah, that was huge. I mean, to get the first one out of the way, just get your feet wet, get experience. I mean, every rep you gain some type of experience, and so to do that, use it as confidence, kind of validate yourself that you can go do this, you can go play, and try to take that confidence into Cincy.
And after that Cincy game, because you just mentioned how fast the Vikings game went, did it feel the same when Cincinnati was all said and done, or did you feel different?
It felt more normal. Like, I kind of remember, playing in college and high school, so it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, it's over already. It was more of a normal game, normal flow in terms of, playing. But that was a fun game. We got the win, and it was exciting at the end again.
So I was on our flagship station this morning. I'm on the Cowboys radio network. I'll give a plug. Sorry to the rest of you around the state and the region. 105.3 The Fan, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth. And they always ask me at the end, do you have a players show tonight? They know we do. And I said, yes. We're delighted to have Cooper Rush on tonight. And they said, well, you trying to start a controversy again now? Now that they lost the game and now you're going to have... I said, well, do you think that on the plane ride home, I said, here's a good idea. They lost, so let's get Cooper back on right now. Are you amused, irritated, wherever it would be along the scale of the reaction as you were going through those 4 games of people who said, well, this is the guy who needs to be playing all the time. Forget about Dak, because your relationship with Dak's pretty good. How did you feel about all of that as you heard it? And you can't ignore it.
Well, first off, we have to stop scheduling. I think I came on after we got shut out last year versus Denver, so
Okay.
I think I got a little curse going for this show. But
Duly noted.
yeah. No, it was funny. I mean, you don't listen to all of it, but you see it around, and but you don't think much of it. Obviously, that's the outside world and things people have fun within, whatever they want to do. But when you're in the moment, it's week to week, practice by practice, rep by rep, literally rep by rep, of just kind of trying to figure it out and get better.
How do you disassociate yourself from the outside noise? Because, I feel like that's one of those things where it's easier said than done. So how do you keep those narratives out of your head, out of that locker room?
I think what people don't realize how easy for professional athletes, I think, to do that. I think they can, not to offend people, they just don't take a lot of weight with the whole, a lot of those words don't mean a lot of things to people. But, so you're able just to focus on what you can do in the building with your teammates. Most of all, that's whose voices you're listening to. And that's really, in my position specifically, it was like, all right, coming for a few games, number one job was to have respect to those guys and do your job, and that was the most rewarding part.
But when it comes from your general manager, does it hit different? Do you take it a little bit more up to snuff in that degree?
I think he just enjoyed getting you guys talking.
It's fair, he did.
Yeah. Yes, it's one of his
His
very
great
favorite
qualities.
one of his very favorite things on the menu, as a matter of fact. But you guys know that about him, right? You
Right.
know, and you know that he wants to be friends with every one of you, and he wants to stir the pot. How do you adjust to that, or does someone just give you a little manual when you make a team and say, by the way, don't worry about anything Jerry says, unless he looks you in the eye and says it to you?
Yeah, right, exactly. For me, I've been here my whole career, so it's kind of all I know in terms of, Jerry's world and Dallas Cowboys and how it works and operates. But guys do come in and they notice it's different. They adjust, but it's fun. There's no better place to play in a town that it matters. An owner who loves it, loves football, so it's great.
All right, one more thing before we take our first break, and then I really do want to go back and get into the mind of young Cooper Rush, who came here from Central Michigan, because it's been a very interesting evolution for you from that point to this. But I was in the locker room after the game last night, very quiet, as one would imagine. Nobody was very pleased about the result. This is a team that, fortunately, has not had to taste a lot of that in this first half season. What's your observation about the way your team experiences and processes that kind of disappointment?
Yeah, it definitely stung. But we talked about in the locker room. Coach said it too in there. You need those type of games, close games, back and forth, ebbs and flows. We're down, we're up, we're down, we're up. Going to overtime. You need those games because in January, February, those games happen and matter. So it's something we can really grow from. I think as a team, I think the locker room full of veterans, full of leaders. At the end of the day, it counts as one. You can't let it carry over, and then you look ahead and you got a really good Minnesota team. So there's really no time to dwell on it, and we're already on to Minnesota.
All right, thank you, Mr. Belichick. We'll be right back with our special guest, Cooper Rush, on the Cowboys Hour from Cane Rosso in the Star District in Frisco. Coming right back.
Go Cowboys!
Cowboys Hour presented by Albertsons and Tom Thumb. Get 10% off your groceries every Dallas Cowboys game day when you wear your favorite Cowboys jersey. Albertsons and Tom Thumb, the official supermarket and pharmacy of the Dallas Cowboys. We are back here at Cane Rosso, joined by Cooper Rush, quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, some claps. We can do some claps. Thank you. Cooper, Brad teased to it earlier, taking you back to your college days playing at Central Michigan. Right off the top, I want to ask you, what is a Chippewa?
Native American.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Mount Pleasant's on a reservation, yeah.
Gotcha. Just your experience playing in Central Michigan, you talked about coming in as a freshman and that development that it takes to, step up, lead big plays. What was that like, and I guess how did it prepare you for kind of what you did here with the Cowboys?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to play a lot of games. I was able to start for 4 years, and that experience has carried over in the NFL with not getting a lot of reps, not a lot of game reps for sure, of just having that in your bank. You've been in third and long, you've been in two-minute drills, you've been, in college, but it's the same type of situations and how to handle those. So yeah, I was fortunate to get a chance early on as a redshirt freshman, and then I give credit to Coach Enos, who was there, my head coach. He kind of stuck with me through the ups and downs of a growing young player, and he let me continue to start, continue to grow. And, I really look back at that experience. It was huge.
Was there
I'm sorry, I just wanted to I bet we talked about this during your rookie year. Gary Hogaboom went to Central Michigan, didn't he?
Yep.
Did you ever meet him?
No, I never met him, no.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Was there a moment in that freshman campaign or even going into your sophomore campaign when you kind of recognized, I'm pretty good at this, my next step would be the NFL? Was there a moment that you can remember where you kind of started to shift your college career towards that?
Yeah, I would say it was my junior year. We had a good year that year, a good team, and on offense we were kind of really productive. We played our out-of-conference schedule really well. We played Michigan State tough, played Oklahoma State tough. That's some big-time games. There's big-time competition. We were throwing it well. That's kind of where I started realizing, I think I can do this, and get looked at, get opportunity, got a lot of starts, played well versus big teams. So that was when it first hit me that, you might have a chance.
How special was it to play, I guess, kind of for the hometown school for you being a Michigan guy?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was, only an hour away from home. Made life easy for my parents, myself. It was my only offer, my only chance to go play D1. So always thankful for that. At a program that, it's a smaller program, but it a lot of tradition there. A lot of good players came out of there. And it's all about football. So it was awesome. Couldn't be happier with it.
Did Michigan or Michigan State have any quarterbacks in your years at Central that made you look and say, and you don't have to name them, and just say to yourself, yeah, I'm better than that guy. They should have heard me.
I don't remember who the Michigan guy was during that time. But Michigan State's Connor Cook was very good. He had a hell of a career. But that was the guy that was at Michigan State when I was playing.
Okay. All right, so other sports first. You strike me as a guy who probably was pretty good at 3 or 4 sports.
Yeah, played basketball all through high school and played baseball growing up. I stopped playing baseball after 9th grade.
Why?
Just got burned out with that and just got to high school.
I get burned out of baseball by
got moved to third base. Got moved to third base and
from what?
Shortstop, and it was not nearly as fun. And the hot corner was different.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
And could you hit?
Yeah, then I was doing well and got moved up to varsity and then started seeing curves.
Curveballs, yes, sir.
It was over. Yeah.
And point guard in basketball?
No, power forward, center. Small high school, I played center and the middle of a 2-3 zone. We were a pretty good basketball team, good program, but I liked playing down there in the post though a lot.
All right, so at Central, you're working in a pretty good offense. You're getting to throw the ball around a lot, and then you don't get drafted, despite having a really good career. Set all the records, didn't you? Do you still hold the Central records?
A couple of them, but yeah, me and Dan Lefevre he's hard to catch in a lot of categories.
Yeah, okay.
But we're up there.
Yeah, but so you're right up there. Were you surprised or were your feelings hurt at not being drafted?
I wasn't surprised. We knew going in 6th, 7th round or undrafted. If we were to get drafted, we knew it'd be late. You know, a lot of the physical traits it takes to get drafted, you know, I didn't have. You know, nothing jumped out. And I knew that. We knew what was going to happen. And, you know, got a call from here in Tampa, and my agent said we're going to Dallas. He just knew the situation. He said it was a good deal, and so we went to Dallas, and it worked out. But no hard feelings. Kind of knew what to expect, knew what we were doing going in.
That's kind of interesting you say that, too. That's something I always wonder, drafted versus undrafted, if it affects, you know, going into the locker room with some of the drafted guys. How do you think that that's kind of helped shape your career, going undrafted, having to go through that sort of adversity and being patient and waiting for your opportunities?
Yeah, you have to battle, you know, no matter where you're drafted, really. You got to battle for spots, and especially when you're undrafted, you'll have to continue to do it for years on years on years, no matter how well you play. You kind of got that label. You're undrafted or you're a late-round guy. That's how they'll see you. So every year you got to battle for it, and it's awesome to see. Like this year we had, I think, 4 undrafted guys or 3 undrafted guys make the team. It was awesome. So yeah, undrafted guys kind of all stick together a little bit.
A lot of them have chips on their shoulder about not being drafted. Some drafted guys who didn't think they were drafted high enough are like that. But certainly a number of undrafted guys use that as motivation. I don't know, have you ever had a chip on your shoulder about anything?
Yeah, I just a lot of guys use it more than others. I mean, a little bit, you know. But you know, you believe in yourself. I wouldn't say I needed it for motivation or anything like that. Pretty self-motivated guy, and you know, you're competing with yourself the most, and you know that kind of drives me. Not really those other outside factors, but it's nice being undrafted and still being around.
I wanted to ask you, because you kind of sparked my memory when you were talking about some of the undrafted guys in the locker room. Peyton Hendershot is kind of the one that jumps to my mind. With him and Jake, they are just like 2 peas in a pod, you know what I mean? But I feel like their personalities are so opposite of your personality. So what was it like getting to, you know, work with them and still at practice throwing to them and kind of frickin' frack, I think is what Mike McCarthy described them as.
Yeah, I couldn't be farther from Ferg in terms of personality, but he's awesome. Both those guys are great.
He's a little mini Travis Frederick,
yeah.
Isn't he?
Wisconsin guys. But yeah, early on, like day 1, OTAs, you saw Henny could run, Peyton could really run. You're like, okay, he can run. He's got some juice. And then Ferg can do it all block, just kind of a polished tight end. And they've been great, obviously, coming in, playing a lot of ball as rookies. And, you know, I got to work with them early on that second team. So it definitely helped when we're both starting now.
So your rookie year was 2017, right?
Yep.
So now Dak is established. He's had his breakout rookie year in 16. Did Jason Garrett see himself in you? And I don't mean just a redheaded, undrafted quarterback.
I don't know, maybe.
Did you ever have that conversation?
No, but I was obviously very thankful for him believing in me, one of the first guys to believe in me in the league, and trusting me and give me a chance.
So you're here 7 times. I'm trying to do this from memory, and this is not a good day for me to try to do very much from memory. 17, 18. When the new staff came in 20, is that when you were released?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you wound up with the Giants after being out of work how long?
I got cut. They claimed me within 24 hours. I got signed by New York, and then they cut me week 4 of 2020. And then
so that you're cut in camp, before camp?
I got cut, then signed a Peace Squad after camp up there.
Right.
And then
the reason I'm asking is that year was so bizarre. There was no real camp. I mean, there was, but it was all here. That was the COVID year. The real impactful one. And so I wonder what you thought your career – I'm actually going somewhere with all this. I wonder what you thought your career was going to look like at that point.
Yeah, like you said, the 2020, no preseason games, not much practice. We had to do a ramp-up thing, and so it was obviously chaotic. And for guys on bottom third of rosters who need those games, need that tape, it really hurt a lot of guys, I think, myself included. I think we had like one scrimmage, And so yeah, at least was able to be on P squad up there. Then after week 4, they cut me. And then sitting at home for a few weeks, Dallas finally called, and we were back at it.
And was that after Andy got hurt and sick, so they needed somebody?
Yeah, it was after the Washington game we got hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you've got to convince a whole new, except for Kellen and Nussmeier, and they're probably the reason that you were back here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, but you've got to convince the head coach and the rest of the offensive staff. How was the pressure of that compared to making a team undrafted for the first time?
Yeah, going back, so 2020 ends and we're coming into 2021. It was kind of like reset. We've done this before. It's back to 2017. You're basically 4th on the roster, and you got to find a way to get on that roster. It was really back to square one. I remember writing it down, telling myself, you've done this before. Nothing new. So just back to square one, treat it like you're undrafted free agent, making a team, going through OTAs and training camp, preseason games. Kind of treated the exact same, and having that experience, I think, really helped.
I know you mentioned it was a pretty short time period between Dallas to New York and how that all played out, but the uncertainty of not knowing what's next, so to speak, can you speak on that a little bit and what that kind of was like?
Yeah, I mean, it's middle of October, and you're sitting at home watching games on TV on Saturday and Sundays. It's something new, and you played ball on the weekends your whole life. So that was new, different, I think about 4 or 5 weeks. But I think overall it ended up helping me because it came back. You had a whole new perspective of, I think I played a lot freer. You've been out. You can't go any lower than that, right? You're out. So you're back in it. I think I had a new fresh look on things, kind of. I think it let me play freer, and I think I was better for it.
So and we got to take our next break, and I promise I really have a destination in mind for this line of questioning. You're 26 at that point, right? 2020, a couple of years ago, and now you're saying to yourself, well, you've been in this situation before, so it's no big deal. You know how to handle it. But some people might say, I'm 26. I've been in this situation before. I don't have to. Why am I going through this again? What do you think was the deciding factor for you in being more positive in the way you looked at it?
Just another chance. I think seeing what life was without playing ball, and having no job. You don't want to look to that future yet. I was not ready for that. Still not ready for it. And yeah, I was able to just kind of reflect and just kind of cut it loose more. Just go play a little freer. Enjoy it more, be around the teammates more. I think it just helped me grow as a person, as a leader. So it was huge, and that's how life works a lot for a lot of guys all across the league, different things in their lives that translate to helping them be better players.
All right, that having no job, that's kind of where I'm going eventually with this. I'm going to tie it back to what you have done already this season, because I don't think that's going to be a situation you're going to be in again for as long as you want it to be, for a while anyway. This is the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour. We're at Cane Rosso in the Star District in Frisco with our very special guest, Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush, and we'll be right back.
By Albertsons.
Welcome back to the Cowboys Hour, presented by Luke Casey, the official bootmaker of the Dallas Cowboys. Haley Sutton, Brad Sham, alongside Cowboys quarterback Cooper Rush. Brad, I'll hand it back over to you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And a reminder that next Monday night, we will have no show. Why will we have no show? Why will we have no show, Haley?
Thanksgiving.
It's the Monday before Thanksgiving already. Are you kidding? No, we're not kidding. So no show next week, and we'll be back here in 2 weeks. And for those of you who are here with us at Cane Rosso and who would like to ask Cooper a question, get it ready. We've got the microphone that'll move amongst you, and we'll grill Cooper Rush to within an inch of his young life, commencing immediately. So in our last episode, Cooper's out of a job, cut by the Giants, and then there are injuries to the quarterbacks here. It's 2020, and he gets a call and comes back and gets a job here. And so now in 2021, you're in a pitted death match with Garrett Gilbert for the backup job, which I think most people thought Gilbert was going to win. Going in, you didn't. But how did that situation and the fact that you wound up prevailing differ from the other situations that you had encountered?
Wasn't that? I mean, it's kind of coincidence. So Dak getting hurt that camp, I think, allowed me to get a lot more reps. He hurt his lat. So Garrett's taking the ones, and I'm taking all the twos. So tons of more reps at practice. In my rookie year, that happened too. We had a guy in there. A guy got hurt, and so I was taking every 3 rep all my whole rookie year. It was just me, Kellen, and Dak in camp. So similarities that way, I guess, kind of catching a break due to injury and getting a chance for more reps and more time on the field to, show what you can do. And then I think we got into some preseason games and where, the lights are on and you're just running the show, you're situational, it's real ball. I think that's where I can be my best. I'm not going to light it up, throwing routes on air and stuff like that, and big arm, all that things. But you get in a game, I think I can play quarterback, and those preseason games was able to play well. And
so would you quibble if someone described you as being a better game player than a practice player, which sometimes people think that means you don't practice well? Doesn't mean that. It might mean that your particular skill set shows up better in a game situation. But is that a fair assessment of Cooper Rush?
Yeah, I'd say so. Some of the intangibles of playing quarterback show up, that you have to have, and the experience of playing it your whole life, having a feel for the game shows up. Like you said, it's not like I don't try to practice or anything like that.
No, you kind of made it seem like he wasn't a
No,
practice.
by the way, they said that about Dak as a rookie. He just was. For those of you who don't remember, Dak Prescott went to training camp in 2016 competing for the 3rd job. So that all of this happened because opportunities prevailed, much as was the case with you. And so now here we come forward, and you had the Minnesota game. Now that changes a lot, right? Changes things for you, your perception of yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said earlier, kind of validates your inner belief that you can go do this. You don't get in game for all those years. It's like, you start talking to yourself, can I do it if it happens? It's been a while, all this stuff. So to just go out there and get a chance to go play. And I think I looked at it differently, not that I wanted to wait that long, but getting to wait that long and being out of the league and coming back and now getting another chance, I think it kind of like you had nothing to lose type attitude, just go play, be you. And I think that kind of helped me in that game and moving forward.
Now here we come to camp, and Will Greer's been around since last year, 2nd-round pick by Carolina. And so now he's learned the system. He's been here a year. Now the perception, I don't know if it was real or not, but the perception was that he was giving you a run for the number 2 job. Did you perceive it that way?
Yeah, in those competitions, you always perceive it that way. It's always a competition. Will had a great camp, good player. Like you said, kind of knew the system now. So it was a even battleground that way. And no, yeah, every camp it's like that. I mean, that's just the name of the game for not just the backup QB role, but positions all over the field. Those few weeks are big time, and you're always competing for them.
And he got hurt, and he didn't get an opportunity to play very much in preseason, and you did, and you are number 2 going in, and now all of a sudden, here you are. And we'll just fast forward a little bit through a couple of games that you win. And suddenly the owner is making jokes, and no one knows if he's kidding on the square about maybe we'll have a quarterback controversy when Dak comes back. How'd you like all that, by the way? Did that add any pressure to you? Did you and Dak really laugh about that?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of just laughed it off. I mean, I think Jerry laughed it off too. It's kind of just a, he did his job of getting us in the news, and
all the news.
Yeah, and then he
but he didn't have a chance to do that except for how you were playing. In that he'd have found something else, but the key was how you were playing.
Yeah, we were playing well. A couple good games versus good teams. And I think it really showed how strong we were as a unit, as a team. Defense picking us up. We're making just enough plays. Kind of everyone truly rallying together, and it showed. And sometimes teams have to do that, and we were able to do it.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You mentioned earlier going into that second game against the Bengals, you felt better after having the Vikings game in your back pocket. But then you started to notice when you speak to these guys, your teammates in the locker room, how complimentary they are of you. And not that that was a surprise, but just how much confidence did it continue to give you every week, knowing that you stepped into this role, you had a group of guys in the locker room who were going to battle for you, going to war for you, and had your back in those instances?
Yeah, it's everything. What those guys say about you and how they feel about you is everything. It's why you work hard. It's why you practice. It's why you do every rep the way you do it, is to earn the respect of those guys. And they did have our back. DQ, Dan Quinn always talks about, on defense, is one of their mottos, we have your back. And it showed. And it was awesome after those games of, after the game in the locker room with him saying, I said, thank you, got my back, thank you. And he's like, things like that. But I think that's huge for every player, whether you're a starter or a backup, or when you're in there, to have that, knowing your teammates believe in you and have that confidence in you really elevates you as a player.
Now, you have no way of knowing this, but the first show in this series this season, and we had to do the first couple in the studio before Haley was hired, DeMarcus Lawrence was on the show. We were talking about, Dak's hurt and this and that, and he was very quiet. He was almost serene. He said, but you don't know what we know. We've all got confidence in Cooper Rush. Did you know that before you took the field against Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think being around for a while, obviously having rapport with a lot of guys in the locker room and practice, they've seen me play, and I think that helped a lot. And then them publicly saying it and going and showing it, having my back and having all of our backs and playing well together as a team, I think it brought us closer. I think it was a big moment for us as a group, and then, you just didn't want to. You just wanted to keep capitalizing on it. Yeah, they believe in you. Now you gotta go do it, go play, and just keep earning that respect.
All right, here's where I'm wrapping this up. That I've been trying.
Here we go.
Two more questions.
Big finale.
Two more questions. So, one is, every player who comes to a camp believes in himself as a player. Maybe not with the demonstrated confidence of having done it for a while, but every player believes he can play in a league. And I've never met one, I've only been doing this 44 years, but I've never met one that said, I can be a backup tight end in this league. Everybody wants to start. So you now have proven that you can start at quarterback and win games in the NFL. Where's your personal proving yourself now as a starter and getting the opportunity to be a starter? Where are you on that meter?
It's going to be, every year it'll always be, you got to win the backup job. And then now, I remember writing down, win the back, first it was like make the team, be the 3, be the 2. And now, playing a little bit, getting confidence, now we can go start. And you always had that confidence in yourself, and getting to go do it and seeing it in action and learning. It wasn't perfect. A lot of plays you went back and you learn from, and just constantly growing. That's kind of the real thing is, whether you're backup or starting, I just want to constantly be growing as a quarterback, on and off the field in the locker room, and that's kind of the goal right now.
So here's the final question.
Can we give you a drum roll?
If you like. So who know, there are so many things that, especially at the quarterback position, that go into deciding who gets a chance to be a starting quarterback, let alone who becomes a starting quarterback. Sometimes it's politics. Sometimes it's salary cap. It's all kinds of stuff. My assertion is that what you have done, I know you're noticeably reluctant to use the pronoun I, but what you have demonstrated, proved, by being given a chance and making the most of it is, I think you set your family up for the rest of your life. I think that you're going to have an opportunity to be, at the least, at the very worst, you can be Colt McCoy or Chase Daniel or one of those guys who plays 12 or 15 years as a backup quarterback and makes a lot of money, what some people would consider a lot of money. How do you react when I say that?
Yeah, it's the goal is to play as long as I can. It was awesome seeing Colt. I was with Colt in New York. He was awesome seeing him play yesterday. He played really well. It was sweet. Yeah, I just want to play as long as I can with it, starting, being a backup, and just getting the chance to get on the field. You want to be in it. You want to be in it. You want to be in it. Whether that's practice squad role, I tell guys that are on P squad now, young guys, like, you're in it. A lot of stuff can happen. You don't want to be at home right now. So, things like that, just be involved, whether you're playing, whether you're helping out, whether you're backing up. That's the goal. Play as long as I can.
The humblest quarterback in the league might be Cooper Rush, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with Cooper when we continue with your questions on the Cowboys Hour.
to the Miller Lite Cowboys Hour, supported by Albertsons.
Welcome back to Cane Rosso, home of the Cowboys Hour, which, by the way, is presented by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. We are wrapping things up here with quarterback Cooper Rush. I always like seeing how it builds every now and then. And I think, Brad, we're going to take some questions from callers.
I'm ready.
Hello, Cooper. My name is Rambo. So I know your teammates are a great support system as far as motivation goes. Has Tony Romo ever given you any advice having to do as far as being thrown into the spotlight like you have the past year or so?
Yeah, the first time I met Tony was actually before the Cincy game. You know, he's doing the game for CBS. We had the production meeting, and it was awesome talking to him. He right away, first thing you watch practice, and first thing he said, "Oh, you know how to play. You'll be fine. I know quarterback traits, and you got him." And that's, you know, that was pretty cool to hear him say that. He was super relaxed about it, just saying, "Hey, you can play. Go trust in it." And that was my first experience with him, and it was very helpful.
Yeah, he just signed an $18 million contract. He can be loose with the compliments. Yeah. When you were sitting around contemplating, looking for the next job, waiting for the next phone call, your thoughts have to go to, well, if nobody calls, then I will.
Yeah, it was. I still don't have an answer. Didn't have an answer then, and still don't now. And
I love your wife's reaction to that.
yeah, right. We didn't know what was going on, and, but yeah, not the best time. And but like I said, I think it offered some perspective for me and really helped me grow as a person and player.
Well, maybe the better way to ask the question is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm doing it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you can't do this forever. Someday, you and me both, pal, they're going to invite us to not do this anymore.
Right. I really don't know. So.
What would you want to be when you were a kid besides an athlete?
I wish I had better answers. I mean.
I have a hard time answering that question, too, though,
Yeah,
because I'm like, I don't remember.
I don't remember. I mean,
I barely knew what I wanted to do in college.
I have a good degree. I got actuarial science degree. You can go make money doing that in the insurance industry and stuff like that, but not the plan.
Coaching?
Gonna want to stay away from it if possible.
Because?
It's brutal life on the family, a lot of hours, and it's something though. It's football and you know it and you're good at it, but man, you think we work hard? Those guys.
No, I know,
Yeah.
I know. But I'm not trying to take him away from the family. Trust me. But the time might come, and someday it probably will, when you'll say, "And what is it that you have lined up to do?" Because the house isn't big enough. Okay. How about high school coaching? You strike me as someone who would really be good at transmitting fundamentals and character building and that kind of thing. And,
Yeah,
and there's a lot less travel.
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed, unless it's down here. But where I'm from, it's a lot more relaxed and a lot more fun. It's funny, actually. My buddy, I still talk to from high school. He's a high school coach at where I went to high school. Where we went to high school, and he just sent me over the huddle of their last playoff game. He goes, "I need you to look at this. We lost." And I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm planning on it. And who knows?
Okay. You got to talk to Witten.
Yeah, he's doing great this year.
Yeah.
Big year for him.
Yeah.
Hi, Cooper Rush. My name's Caden, and I wanted to ask, I know you played for the Giants for a while, and I wanted to ask, what's your thoughts about leading the Cowboys?
It was awesome. I mean, to get not just a one-game stint, but like a 4 or 5 game thing of like, hey, you're the guy. It was awesome. You had to remind yourself, you've been a starting quarterback your whole life. Go act like it, and kind of found a rhythm. And it was pretty cool looking back. And during it, it's like, this is pretty sweet. You're a starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. You always thought you'd be there, but also you thought I probably shouldn't be here. But it was pretty cool.
Wait, say more about that.
I mean, you're just a kid growing up. You want to be that, but I mean, the chances, the numbers, I'll say no. Kind of my upbringing, I wasn't some 5-star recruit that got recruited everywhere, and now it's a high draft pick. Things like that's what I mean by that. And but at the same time, you had that inner belief of this is where you belong.
Okay, so the experience in New York gave you a frame of reference. People, I've talked to players who spend a little time with different teams, and they're surprised at everything about how things work differently in other organizations, from where you have lunch to the structure of meetings and everything. What was the biggest contrast?
I wish I got obviously it wasn't there long, but it was the COVID year, so it was a little,
not fair.
Obviously not fair, but I would say that's an organization that, fans care, the city cares. It's all, so I didn't get a taste of, of a place where, maybe football's not number one, because obviously that's a storied franchise and all that. Like you said, guys come here and it's a little different, and but like I said, it's fun and there's no better place.
I want to ask you about your wife, because I keep catching eyes with her, but you talked earlier about how
She's married,
special
though,
it
you
was.
know. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm just
Okay.
never mind.
Regardless.
Highly inappropriate.
You talked about how special it was to have the support of your teammates, but to have the support of that teammate, how special has that been?
It's huge. I mean, taking care of the little one right now, that role that she plays is huge. Having that support there, and then my family at home, and all of them working together, getting along, and it's huge. It's why you're here. Everyone needs it, and definitely thankful for it.
What do you do to chip in with the little guy?
We go on walks, and I change a lot of diapers. I change her diapers a lot.
Are they watching film right now?
Yeah, she's.
Yes, she is. Touchdown.
Yeah, she's big into Cars right now, the movie Cars. So that's probably what's on it.
And she has no idea what you do, does she?
Or cares.
Or care. But that's the good. That, by the way, that'll be the good news. As you go along. Tough game. You walk in the door. Even your loving wife doesn't know quite how to approach you, what kind of mood you'll be in.
Yep.
They don't care. Daddy's home. That's
Yep.
all they need to know.
Right, I know. It's all good in their world, so makes it good in yours.
How's it been being a father and just balancing this game and being at home and taking care of her? How has that kind of shifted your focus, I guess?
It's been awesome. Like you said, it offers just another thing, another perspective of life, and just another aspect of it. And she's great. She's a pretty easy baby. So knock on wood, right? And then, but it's
Don't
been good.
jinx that.
Yeah, no, it's been good. It's been fun. And you're learning in that environment too, and you're enjoying every day.
What's harder, being the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys or being a dad?
Dad for sure. Dad for sure.
No question.
Yeah.
You get blitzed every play. So one of the great reasons in the minute or so we have left to come out to Cane Rosso on a Monday night. A lot of great screens up. Philadelphia, Washington tonight. What are your thoughts about the division race?
There's some good football being played. Obviously, Philly undefeated. Really good football team, top to bottom on both sides of the ball. And then New York's playing really well. And then Washington's no joke, especially on defense. They got dudes everywhere. So the NFC East is showing out this year, and it's going to be fun all the way to the end.
Okay, the music means we got 30 seconds to say thank you very much
Cooper.
for your time.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for bringing your family. Thank you for letting him come out tonight. Happy Thanksgiving. And Haley, to you, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Back at
And
ya.
to all of you, happy Thanksgiving. And we will see you right back here in 2 weeks on the Cowboys Hour at Cane Rosso in the Star District in Frisco.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!